Welcome to Seed to Plate, my new show. I am the Stoner Chef Canada, Danny Raposo. This show is about my amazing chef celebrity friends that have no clue about infusing food with cannabis. So today on the show, I'm very lucky for my first episode to have a great friend of mine. We've known each other quite a long time. One amazing chef in Toronto from Penthouse Catering, Chef Russell
Auckbaraullee.
Auckbaraullee. Yay!
You got it.
So
buddy.
today on the show, he's here. We are going to do a quick little interview, talk about what he's done, where he's been, what type of food he does, all of his businesses, and then we're going to get into the kitchen and make some infused sushi. Yeah. So, welcome,
Yes, sir.
Chef Russell.
Yes, Chef Danny.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
No, any problem.
Well, I mean, to be your first guest on the show, I mean,
Yeah.
like, man.
Well, like
yeah.
I said, we've known each other quite a
We've known
while.
each other for a long time.
And you've been
actually.
you've been bugging me for.
I remember calling you in LA last year, this time, saying, you got to teach me this stuff. You've
Yeah.
been talking about it, and I've been seeing everything that you've been doing, social media, and I was just like, I need to tap into this somehow. I need to figure out how I can learn from the master himself.
Thank you.
Who has this broken down like a science, in my opinion,
That's right.
just on your knowledge of this. And me, my food knowledge of food, because I'm an instructor myself, I hold my own cooking classes, I get asked tons of questions. And one of them is like, hey, why don't you do a class with infused cannabis in your cooking class? And I'm like, well, I've been waiting for you for how long now?
Sorry, man.
Right? I'm so happy you remembered me.
Of course.
And to have me come and start this off with you for the first one is a huge blessing. Thank you so
man.
much.
No,
Thank
it was a blessing that you said you would come. I'm pretty
I
happy.
made time for you.
Like
Made
I
time for
said, you asked me about a year ago, and I know I was a little busy and stuff like that, but now we're here,
Yes.
and we're going to show everybody, I'm going to show you, explain what the benefits are
Yeah.
with using cannabis. I mean,
Which is really important because for someone like me who doesn't smoke, right? You're going to show us how we can infuse it in food, because I do have a lot of chronic pains. And, you know, just the chef industry is a backbreaking.
it is. You're on your feet 18 hours a day
you need-
sometimes,
you
if
know,
not longer.
That's right.
You're bending over, you're cutting. You know, the concrete,
toll.
the
Big
concrete
toll on your
floor
body,
takes
yeah.
it takes a lot on
Takes
your
a
back.
lot on you. Yeah.
You're standing there a lot. I know. That's why I kind of got out of the kitchen.
So which is why I was so interested to find a way for someone who doesn't smoke, and it's just like, yeah, okay, fine, it's legal in Canada, but it's like, if I'm not used to that, is there another way I can do it? Another way of trying to have
another
this,
path of method
and
of
you're going to
making
show it. You're gonna,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
So basically, for someone who doesn't smoke, like yourself, you said, there are many benefits to eating your cannabis, right? So, for instance, I could make a beautiful CBD rice. While CBD is the cannabinoid that will not get you high, but it's very healthy. It repairs a lot of damage.
So like an anti-inflammatory.
Yeah,
okay.
so if you have anti-inflammatory, swelling, it's actually good for stress, anxiety, depression. There's so many things that
You know what I also have too, and it's interesting because you say, like, you know, chefs, we're up all day, you know, it's a rock and roll lifestyle at night, right? But insomnia is
yes. So CBD also helps with insomnia. So I do a beautiful CBD oil.
Yeah.
It's a vegetable glycerin.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm
So
excited.
you can get that online now on one of my Put It in Your Mouth productions. I believe it's on the YouTube. We do an actual full spectrum CBD oil that you can make with using the magical bud. Right?
So today, when we get into the kitchen, we're gonna do stuff infused with the rice, the water.
Yeah, so
right?
root water.
Right.
I use everything. You know me, I don't
from
waste.
the roots.
As a chef, come on, you
That's
know
right.
you can't waste
100%,
anything
no wastage
at all.
which I love, because I can't wait to see what this root is. Or
Yeah, so it's a root, like the actual cannabis plant, the roots.
And we're going to use it with the water.
We're actually going to make stock water.
Stock water.
So
out of that
root water with alkaline water
to cook our sushi
to
rice.
cook our sushi rice.
Okay, and then you also told me, you gave me a heads up that we're going to be doing something with the, so instead of oil, we're going to be using a type of butter.
That's right.
And it's infused in the butter.
Infused cannabis ghee.
Ghee.
Ghee. Well, you're
Wow.
Indian. You should
So
know.
yeah, that'll be interesting.
So I mean, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm
Okay.
going to show you how to decarb some cannabis by
Okay, I don't know
decarbing
what that is,
cannabis.
but I'm interested to find out. Yeah.
So you can't just put cannabis into food
Raw.
raw.
Okay.
So it has to be decarboxylated,
Okay.
which will activate all the cannabinoids and terpenes.
It's interesting because you said that you bake it.
Yes, you put it in the oven for
put it in the
for
oven.
about 40 minutes at 250 degrees,
Okay.
and that will activate the THCA into THC.
So we're removing the
We're
A
removing the A, yeah,
to have the THC.
to have the THC, so you can get that benefit from the plant. But it's not just the THC; it's the CBD and the CBC, and there's like 200 cannabinoids in the plant.
So we got all the CBC, the
Right,
TTC,
all that stuff.
We got all the acronyms inside.
Yeah,
and we're going to
it's-
take all the
we're just
benefits
gonna
of that.
activate it, and then
Yeah.
we're going to put it into the magical butter with soy sauce, and it's
So
going to.
hold on. So we're also going to do something. This is new. So you
Yes.
have another one. So we're not just doing the rice with it. We're not just doing
The butter.
cooking the
butter.
vegetables with the butter
Yeah.
in it. We also have a third
a
component.
third infusion,
with
which
sesame
is
oil.
cannabis
Wow, this
with
is
soy
interesting. This is
sauce. So this magical butter machine, it's a botanical extractor.
Wow,
You
Danny.
can put everything inside. I know I'm blowing your mind.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
There's a lot to learn. So slowly we'll kind of work like slow on
So
infusions.
we're breaking it down in 3 different ways.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
From the root.
From the roots to a butter
Right.
into a soy sauce infusion.
Right, and this goes into. You're going to show me how it goes into a machine and
Right.
emulsifies, like how
Right.
you make like a salad
Absolutely.
dressing.
Yeah.
And then okay, awesome. I can't.
So
wait.
that we'll do once we get into the kitchen.
Okay.
So tell me about why you got into food, man. Like what made you
Oh wow!
choose food, bro?
So
Like-
you want to know? So it's very interesting because my first marriage, I didn't know how to cook anything, and when she left, we were living in Paris. We're living in France.
Cool,
Right.
nice.
She left in a way that I had nothing in the fridge.
Wow.
I mean, she even took the ice rack
The trays?
from the freezer. Okay.
Boy, she left you with nothing, huh?
So when she left, I literally had no food, and I didn't know how to cook. I mean, at all. That's one thing that she took care of. I was like, she was, she took care of the home. I was outside the home. I was the provider,
Yep.
right? And she knew when she was leaving me that the thing that she could do the most to me is leave me with no food. So she did it in a way that I kept saying we have to buy groceries, and it came to a point where it's like, hey, we have nothing left, and that's when she left.
Wow.
So she wanted
She
to
planned it all.
She planned it so that I would starve.
Wow.
I was alone in France because my family was here. I had some relatives, but it was like kind of saying like they're in Montreal compared to like me being
Yeah.
in Toronto and Paris.
Right.
So it's not like I could really reach out to anyone. So I survived on water for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And through that, I realized that
Sorry
you
to
know
hear
what?
that, bro.
No, it's okay. I lost a lot of weight.
That's a
I lost
shitty
lot of-
way. That's a shitty way.
she really yeah.
She hit
so
you
so
hard,
so
huh?
so the thing
Wow.
was I put it in my head. I will never ever get a woman that will find a weakness that could do this to me again. So when I came back, I was like, I need to learn how to cook. Now, learning how to cook, I learned the basics just from my father, who was a cook. But I didn't get to learn too much from him because he passed away through cancer. But through friends. Now, back then, there wasn't really that much social media, like
Yeah, there was
that you
the
could.
social
So
media
it was,
stuff.
the Food Network,
Yep,
right? Which
of
I
course.
learned a lot of things from there. And then I started practicing and practicing and practicing. Then I met my new wife. And she pushed me further because she was a really, lack of terms, not a bad cook, but a poor.
That's okay. My wife,
her food was
my
very-
wife burns water. Bro.
Okay,
she
so-
doesn't cook at all.
Right,
Like literally.
So I realized, okay, I got to step up the game more, and that's when I told her, like, you know what, I want to go to culinary school because I was getting so many compliments at that point saying you're good.
Yeah.
And so for 2 women, is the reason why I am where I am today.
So did you go to school for?
Yeah, I did.
So
I did.
you are-
So,
you
so
are
I,
a
I,
Red Seal chef?
I was professionally trained. I was Italian trained.
Nice.
Okay, so my background was in Italian. I got started in an Italian restaurant, like from scratch at Mangiabevi. The greatest thing that restaurant did for me was they were very hands-on, but really hands-off. They would let you be creative. It wasn't like this is the recipe,
Yeah.
this is how it is. We were all responsible for each department was you're special for
Yeah,
the next day.
of course.
And that pushed me really hard because that's where they critiqued you the most. So it basically came down to sales, right? How much of your special did you sell today?
Yeah.
Did it sell out? Is the staff eating it? Because usually what happens with a special, it's really made for the staff,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
You
Yeah.
get me?
Yeah, I know.
But when you're selling out, so that helped me to move up the ranks, and then all the way up to head chef.
Nice.
And then I got tired of the restaurant industry, and I said, screw this. I can't do this anymore. The 18 hours days, I was sleeping 4 hours a night. The responsibility of running a kitchen like that, and the pressure, and I started my own catering company.
That's basically the same reason why I got out of the kitchen. You work 18 hours a day, you sleep 6 or 4, and when you're sleeping, your mind's still working.
And again,
I used to dream about work. Man. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it would be more nightmares. Than,
absolutely.
It was more negative than what it's like. Do I really want to get up and go and do this all over again? Right? It's a slave ship, and depending how you want to take it, it's a cutthroat industry. There's not a lot of money to be made. You have to have the passion behind it to do it. That's what keeps you going. Once I learned as much as I could, I was like, you know what? Let me start my own thing, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. So that's Penthouse Catering.
Yes.
So you started that how long ago?
Wow, I think 8 years ago.
Cool.
No. Yeah, 8, 9 years ago now.
And so with Penthouse Catering, you do catering itself.
Yeah.
You also do cooking classes?
So what happened through that was one of my biggest catering gigs I got through a friend was doing for the Canadian Olympics, the Summer Olympic team. Yeah. So when I got to go to the Olympic House and I got hired to do the catering for them, they chose. It was a selection of we had to go, and then they chose me.
Perfect.
And I got to cook for the top 100 Canadian athletes that were from Toronto. Yeah.
Amazing.
And what happened was a lot of the athletes, it's a big place where they do all their talking, mingling. People are coming there, the media, and some of them would sneak up to the kitchen and they would ask me questions. Yeah. And this was very typical doing catering. People like to come to the kitchen. Hey, there's a chef there. Let's ask him. So through that, people would tell me that you have an act of teaching, the way that you explain things. Like I'm actually following you and listening. So after winning the Toronto Sushi Festival in Toronto, when business is slow in the fall, like around now, I was like, well, let me try. Let me just put this up there, see if there's people that would be interested in learning sushi, using the credibility as winner of the Sushi Fest, and as well as there's things like with Chop Canada, and I did some other competitions. So I put it up there, and I did not think it would blow up. I really didn't. It really became a full-time job.
And it has.
It took over the business of the catering that I'm doing 7 classes a week.
Amazing.
And now we're doing 5 classes. So we do a knife skills class, which is extremely important to know how to handle a knife, how to position everything, how to sharpen a knife, the purpose of using a sharp knife and always using one. So I teach you how to sharpen everything, all of that in one class. Then it moves up to the sushi class. And then it gets a little bit more difficult with Thai, Indian, and we do a biryani class. And then hopefully soon we're going to be starting a kids only class.
That's cool.
That's really important.
Well, because I think we talked about this before. Growing up, I had cooking classes in school.
Yeah, home ec, yeah.
You learn how to sew. You used to learn how to sew and make muffins or whatever.
Yeah, but it was.
And now they don't.
But the point was, the great thing of that for us, for our generation, is that we weren't afraid to use a stove.
That's right.
You get me? You weren't afraid to be like, okay, I'm home. My parents are still at work. Yeah. Throw some frozen fries in the oven. Throw it in. Just eat some fries. Maybe, but before, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or just even like to make your own sandwiches, right? So it's unfortunate how it's become, because I've had parents cry and say, thank you so much. This basic, what we did here today in your class, is who knows, it's going to open up.
Absolutely.
You got me? Because in our class too, just like in the kitchens, Danny, cleanliness. You got to clean up. And I would have parents tell me, I've never had my son broom before. Thank you for asking him to broom.
That's the whole thing. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. That's the saying in the kitchen, right? So if you're not doing anything, you pick up a rag and you start cleaning, right? That's the way it is. Kitchen, it has to be always clean. I can't stand a dirty
But I do have to mention, if you want to take out our cooking classes in Toronto, it's not on our website. We're exclusive to Groupon. Okay. Because we get tons of Americans from Michigan to South Carolina that drive up, because they're like, I've never seen a sushi class in their areas. So Groupon noticed that, and they pump it a lot to the States. So it's only on Groupon, not on our website.
Groupon. Okay.
Groupon.
So we're gonna get that link. So at the bottom here, you guys can be able to hit that link to get to Chef Russell.
You can put Chef Russell or Penthouse Catering.
Penthouse Catering.
And in the search, and it'll come up.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm getting hungry, man.
You ready to do this?
You ready to rock?
I want no more pain in my back. So.
Yeah. So like that's what we're here for. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you slowly.
All right.
Let's get this on.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's get in that kitchen and go.